Modern day golf instruction, because we live in this world of technology, has made this paradigm shift of making a complicated sport even more complicated. We've got technology coming from every direction, and we've got outfits telling you that they've studied 40,000, 250,000, 700 playing professional swings. They told you that they've studied everything that's out there and what they do and what they don't do. But what we're really running into is a big problem here, is that we're still not figuring out solutions to the big problems that you bring to the table. We could talk about a lead knee position of Scotty Scheffler, or we could talk about a right elbow position of Xander Schauffele, but is that truly, in fact, helping you get better at the game of golf? Well, I mean, you have to ask yourself that question. Now, I'm going to introduce you to a guy that has been struggling with getting rid of a very common fault in the downswing, and that is early extension. And I know a lot of you at home battle with this, and a lot of you have tried to figure out how to fix it. And you've done drills like the stride and stomp drill or the step drill. You've worked on trying to correct the main problem at hand, and that's the sequence, and you just don't find yourself making any headway on it. And what we ran into with David is that this lifelong fault that he had in there was causing him to hit a bunch of blocks and a bunch of quick hooks. And what we had to do is get him outside of all of the things that he's been thinking about when it comes to technical golf instruction and simplify a way for him to be able to create movement. Movement is the king or the queen of your castle when it comes to swinging the golf club. And a lot of you have the ability to be able to create better movement if you step outside of your comfort zone and you simplify this really overcomplicated problem, just like I did with David. Now, with the drill that I'm going to give you here today, it works very much like a step drill or a stride and stomp drill, because you're going to learn the three forces that we have to exert in the golf swing, but you're going to be doing it in a way that you never really thought of. So I want you to take your golf club, I want you to set it off to the side. And the very first step that I had David do, because he had this drill swing that he did all of the time where he loaded over in his trail side and he would try to shift his weight by just shifting his pelvis forward, and his spine would start to lean back. And the reason why that was becoming a big issue when we start to shift our pelvis forward and our head stays back here is that you can understand if my spine is leaning this way after transition's complete, I've got a lot of pressure underneath my right foot. And the golf swing's happening fast. I can take that pressure and I can use it to push off of. And that is what's going to cause a lot of your early extension problems. So we have to get our weight from our trail side over to our lead side. And a good way to learn how to do that is stand in your proper stance width, so just a little bit wider than your pelvis. Okay, and all I want you to do is not think about a golf swing, but I want you to get 99% of your weight over underneath your trail ankle. Focus on getting 99.9% of your weight underneath your trail ankle. It's your body, get it over there. Now I want you to take that weight and put 99% of your weight over underneath your lead ankle. And a lot of you are probably thinking to yourself, well, that looks like a slide, or that looks like a sway, because it is. But you're feeling a huge increase in pressure from one side of the ball to the other. 99% over here on my trail side, 99% of my weight over my lead side. And by you focusing in on where your weight lands underneath the ankle joint, that's going to make the next two steps a whole lot easier on you. You want to remember that you want to build a safe golf swing. And your pressure, the way that you move it through the feet, is incredibly important for you to be able to rotate your hips properly and to keep your knees safe. So think about your weight moving through your ankle joints and go back and forth here just for a second. The next thing that I wanted to introduce to him to be able to get the correct movement in place was a vertical drop or a sit movement into the lead side as we were trying to get 99% of the weight over to our lead foot. Now, in any real good golf swing, what you're going to notice is that where our head is at address versus where it is at impact, you'll see that it's substantially lower. And the reason for that is because it has to be. It has to be because we want to hit down on this golf ball, and we're going to be hitting down through a low point that's going to be somewhere 3 to 5 inches in front of the ball here. And so we need to have some vertical natured movement as we start to shift our weight over to our lead side to get ourselves set up for us to be able to hit down through the shot, but also for us to be able to utilize ground force when we start to post up and release. So now what we're going to do to learn that movement is we're going to go ahead and just shift our weight back and forth. So as I get 99% of my weight over underneath my trail ankle, I'm going to move 99% of my weight over to my lead ankle. What I want you to think of is that you have a high bar stool that's sitting back behind your left butt cheek here. And as you start to move your pressure from 99 to your trail side over to your lead side, I just want you to sit your butt cheek back on that high bar stool. Everybody knows what a bar stool looks like. Okay, it's very relatable. You're trying to move 99% of your weight to your trail or your lead ankle, and you're just trying to sit down on a high bar stool. Okay, so it's going to look like this: 99%, 99%, but sitting back on that bar stool. I want you to do this for a couple minutes here. Okay, so I'm going to show you exactly the way I had him practice it. So I had him touch his belt buckle and his sternum, 99%, sit back, stop. 99%, sit back, stop. So I know a lot of you at home are thinking, that's it? I just go from trail side to lead side and think about sitting in a high bar stool? That's not going to help me get better at the game of golf. Of course not. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take those first 2 steps and we're going to make this a realistic movement. Now what's missing in those 2 key movements that I had to teach David first? Rotation. Rotation is the big one. Rotation is what's going to help consolidate down a lot of that horizontal natured movement that you're seeing on both sides of the golf ball, believe it or not. So as soon as I start to shift my weight to my trail side, then I'm going to start turning my body. And when I start to feel my body get to its max capacity, you're going to feel that pressure increase up to 80 or 90%. But now what we're going to do in this downswing to transfer our weight and get this system moving is we're going to think about still moving 90% of our weight to our lead side. So we're still trying to move the entire body, and we're still trying to think about sitting back in that bar stool. But as soon as I start to feel like I'm sitting back in that bar stool and my weight's starting to change, I'm going to take my rib cage, okay, so my belt buckle and my belly button here, and I'm just going to turn as much as I can. So it's going to look like as I'm getting onto that trail side and moving down and sitting back on that lead side is that I'm just turning, and you're going to start to see that the head, that movement of the center starts to get toned back very quickly. But now you've got a golf swing that's got the ability for you to be able to stay in posture. So watch this. So we're going to go ahead and shift our weight to our trail side and start to turn. Now I'm going to start to sit back and move 90%, and I'm just going to turn my core. Okay? Okay, keep the arms really chill. Think about sitting back on a high bar stool. Okay, 90% of your weight. And what you're gonna notice here is that as I try to move 90% of my weight to my lead side and turn, that my head is not getting out in front of the shot anymore. Okay? So this right here is a simple way for you to think about how to create movement. 99 to 99. 99%, then add in a little sit back into a high bar stool and use that same feel, go into golf posture and start turning your rib cage and start letting the club fly. And you're gonna see exactly what we saw out of David. Get out there and practice the right way. Every single practice session matters. Go through each of these steps, hit a golf ball, repeat that process over and over and over again. And you're gonna find yourself at the finish line with a much better golf swing than you ever thought you had. We'll see you guys in the next video.